Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're jumping right into something I think literally every single one of us grapples with. We're talking about that crazy friction between wanting to grow and feeling completely paralyzed by hesitation. We're going to unpack some fascinating source material on Beyond the Comfort Zone, basically looking under the hood at the biological mechanics of why change is so incredibly hard and how we can actually hack our own psychology.
So, to kick things off, let's drop right into this core biological tension. Think about it for a second. What is your brain's one singular mission? Because, we spend our entire lives setting these big goals and trying to improve ourselves. But under the hood, our brains are running a completely different operating system.
Part 1. The Survival Imperative. Let's look at the biological default and the raw programming of the human mind.
And guys, it is a seriously stark contrast. The primal part of your brain, it honestly doesn't care at all about your success or your happiness. It's not sitting there invested in whether you get that big promotion or if you feel deeply fulfilled in life. What it does care about is keeping you safe, keeping you breathing. Its one and only mission is pure survival.
And here's the kicker. How does your brain actually define safety? Well, to your brain, safe simply equals familiar. Your brain basically looks at your current reality and calculates, okay, well, we aren't dead yet, so this must be safe. The unfamiliar is this total wild card. It's a huge evolutionary risk, so it clings desperately to the familiar, which effectively wires us to resist the exact changes we're consciously trying to make.
Part 2. The Comfort Zone Effect. Here's exactly why we stay stuck.
Psychologists actually call this the comfort zone effect. It's this wild mechanism where your brain takes a shortcut to save precious energy by just repeating old patterns. Think about it. Repeating what you did yesterday requires almost zero processing power, right? And it totally avoids the perceived danger of the unknown. So when you feel that heavy sense of dread about trying something new, you aren't broken. Your brain is just aggressively trying to conserve energy.
And because of this energy-saving mechanism, the real-world symptoms pop up literally everywhere. We end up staying in jobs we absolutely hate. We remain in deeply unhealthy relationships. We just keep repeating the exact same destructive habits, day in and day out. You have to realize, you are fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming that is desperately trying to lock you into what is already known.
Our source material sums this up perfectly. The unknown feels dangerous, even when it's actually better for you. Starting something new is always going to trigger discomfort. Your brain is actively misfiring, right? It's sounding these massive alarm bells over a totally safe opportunity simply because it lacks historical data. So that fear you're feeling, it isn't a personal failure at all. It's literally just a biological false alarm.
Part 3. The Mechanics of Growth. So how do we actually overcome these biological defaults?
We often look at highly confident, successful people and we just assume they have some kind of superpower. We think they were born without fear. But a really critical takeaway from our source material is that every single confident person was once afraid. Every totally successful person out there once felt completely unprepared. They were dealing with the exact same biological alarm bells that you and I do.
So what gives? The difference between staying stuck and actually experiencing growth isn't talent. It isn't genetics. It's action. Action is the only bridge that exists between feeling afraid and becoming confident. It is the literal, physical mechanism you have to use to prove to your brain that its alarm system is just malfunctioning. Okay, so here is how these mechanics actually play out in real time. Step 1. You feel afraid and unprepared. We know that's just the biological default. But then, step 2, you take a small step anyway. By acting in spite of that fear and, surviving, your brain physically learns that this change isn't actually dangerous. It updates its internal database. And then, suddenly, your comfort zone expands. What used to be terrifying becomes your new normal.
Part 4. Courage over comfort. Let's talk about the transformation. When it comes down to our everyday choices, leaning into comfort simply traps us in routine. I mean, if you listen to that base desire to save energy, you just get yesterday over and over and over again. The alternative is recognizing that discomfort actually equals transformation. Growth is always going to feel uncomfortable because you are actively stretching your brain's boundaries of safety. That discomfort, it's basically the mandatory price of admission for a better life.
The life you really want is rarely waiting inside your comfort zone. It's waiting just beyond it. Whether it's learning a new skill, building a deeper relationship, or making a massive career jump, it all requires stepping out of the familiar. It requires you to acknowledge those warning signals your brain is sending, understand exactly why they're flashing, and then actively choose to step forward anyway.
Let's leave off with this incredibly powerful thought straight from the source material. Your brain wants comfort, but your future needs courage. Next time fear tells you to play it safe and conserve energy, just take a second to acknowledge that your brain is simply trying to do its primitive job, and then actively choose courage. So, I'll leave you with this. What is one small step you can take today that absolutely terrifies your primal brain, but that your future self will thank you for? Thanks for joining me for this explainer today. Catch you next time.